Hey, everybody. We are live here across TSW Tri-State Wrestling social media. My name is Joe Dombrowski, and I'm coming to you on behalf of TSW to talk about the incredible event that we're going to be seeing 11 nights from tonight, May the 13th, at the Fitness Center in Hamilton, Ohio. It's Tri-State Wrestling Double Down. But for an event of this magnitude, I can't do this alone. And I want to welcome in the newest member of the TSW broadcast team, and somebody's going to be helping me preview all the hot news and the happenings here in TSW over the next half hour or so. Please welcome here live to Tri-State Wrestling, Danny Bennett. Welcome, sir.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you for having me. Very happy to be part of the TSW family. I'm excited to talk about Double Down, man. I mean, we've got 6 huge matches, 6 exciting matches. I'm stoked for it, and you know, I'm ready. I'm here, and I'm pumped, and I can't wait to get into it.
Well, I know as the throngs of fans come in or across all of our different social media platforms, anybody that knows about my career and about my journey, especially these past few years, knows what a sentimental part of my heart and my life, professional wrestling in the Cincinnati area especially has, with all of my work with Les Thatcher and preserving the Heartland Wrestling Association library and bringing the Brian Pillman Memorial shows to life. I always felt like I was a part of the Cincinnati wrestling scene, even if I wasn't physically there. And to be on the ground floor of that next generation of this area with Tri-State Wrestling and seeing the young talent come up and seeing the stars from Indiana and Ohio and New York and Pennsylvania and all of those surrounding areas, Michigan, converge in, and to make this a hotbed again, it's so special to me and it's so exciting to me. And we want you guys, if you're watching on a particular social media platform, TSW Pro Wrestling is your way to find all of our social media channels. And, of course, Tri-State Wrestling Online. Get your tickets as well. Because we expect a pretty packed and vibrant house at TriStateWrestlingOnline.com. You want to get down on the ground floor now. Don't wait till the day of. You want to secure the best seat possible in advance. And
Right.
I know I'm going to have one of the best seats in the house as well. I'm sure you're going to be there. And your first time seeing TSW live and in person, right?
It will be, yeah. I mean, I'm making my way all the way down from Tampa, Florida. So, I mean, this is a huge deal for me. So I'm super pumped. Like, I've watched videos online. Obviously, I know I won't say the owners by name, but I know the owners. So obviously, I support the product that they're putting out and their business ventures. So, when I saw, hey, this is this is what we're going to try to do, I was like, oh yeah, I'm in. I support it fully. I have my own wrestling brand online, and I'm totally into helping you guys promote. Just happened, hey, you got a decent voice. Do you want to jump on and do some coverage with us? I'm like, yeah, sure. So one hand washes the other, Joe, and here we are.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here, and we're going to run down the entire card now for you guys for May the 13th, 2023, the Fitness Center in Hamilton, Ohio. There are 6 big matches that you're going to see live and in person. And there you can see the graphic there. So many great talents, of course, right front and center. There is Eric Redbeard. He will be making a special appearance as well, doing meet and greets. Doors open at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. bell time. You can get your meet and greet packages as well at TriStateWrestlingOnline.com. But, I got to ask you, I know you love pro wrestling. Dan, do you love video games? Are you a gamer? Are you into that kind of thing?
I don't know if you could tell from the background, but I absolutely 100% am.
Well, I don't know how you'd fare gaming against Justin Pac-Man Xavier. All right. He's a gamer from way back, dating back to the old school, and it's really helped him get his competitive flair about him, and it's certainly led to a lot of success here in Tri-State Wrestling thus far. He's gotten a couple of big wins thus far, hasn't he?
Yeah, he definitely has. He took down the team of Tim Lutz and Carson Drake when he was tag teamed up with Gaston LaRue, I believe is who it was. And I mean, yeah, he's he's definitely shown some promise. He's shown some promise here in TSW. Obviously, we're young at heart here still, but he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, tremendous outing as well back in the month of March against Pretty Boy Sam Aljami, and somebody who is trained at the Nightmare Factory. Of course, you're studying under Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall. You can't go wrong. Cody Rhodes is the talk of the wrestling world right now, and for some of that knowledge to be passed down to the likes of Justin Xavier and to have him live and in living color with us, it's great to watch his maturation. As he's still very, very young in the game. But as we mentioned, he's got a win streak going. And looking to play spoiler is going to be Mills Hendricks making his first appearance in TSW. Yeah, what do you know about this young man?
I mean, 2 years in the industry thus far. He's been through a few different promotions: Midwest All-Star Wrestling, Victory Pro, Hybrid Championship Wrestling. He's a fast guy, and that's always one of his advantages over his opponents, but it's not necessarily going to be an advantage over another fast guy in Justin Xavier.
Yeah, really, it comes down to that youth movement once again, and the fact that we've got top to bottom on this event, hungry talent, and some of these individuals are rookies. Some of them have been around for a while, but the constant there, every single time out, you're going to get athletes that are really hungry to get to the next level and are focused on leveling up. And you're going to be able to see that. You're going to see athletes that you could say maybe 5 or 7 years from now when you're watching them on WWE or AEW, you could say, I saw them when they cut their teeth in TSW. One individual who's been to so many of the big dances. He's been in Impact Wrestling. He's been all over the world. He's been a tag team legendary competitor. He's Jake Christ. And when I think of professional wrestling in the state of Ohio, there's a few names that really jump to the top of that list. And Jake Christ is one of them, whether it's Impact, Ring of Honor, CZW, of course, instrumental in the development of so many talents that have come through Ohio, from Sammy Callahan to the Rascals. You think about Wes Lee down in NXT, Trey Miguel killing it in Impact Wrestling right now, Zachary Wentz all over the world. Jake Christ is that constant. He's been in the game for upwards of 2 decades now, and we saw him involved prior here in TSW. Wild matchup with Dalton Castle, went all over the building, but he's going to be faced with another young athlete who's looking to make a name for himself. First time I'm going to have a chance to see certified Luke Curtis. What can you tell us about him?
Yeah, this will be my first time seeing him live and in person, at least. He has been on AEW. He's been in Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, and he was in the Wrestling Showcase, and he was in Ohio Valley Wrestling. He's also a former OVW Rush champion, and he held the title for 252 days. So he's no slouch. He's really not. When you've got a nickname as certified, you got to kind of back it up. Do you not, Joe? And that's kind of, he's been doing that.
He has. Bottom line, you want to get out there and test yourself against the best. If you're the best guy in the room, it's time to move on. And certified Luke Curtis has leveled up in many, many ways. 252 days as the OVW Rush champion once upon a time, and somebody known for their technical prowess. But what a tough draw. Jake Christ is a name known the world over, well revered in Ohio, well respected. And I've been following Jake Christ for many, many years, most of those 20 years. I don't think he's ever been in better physical shape. He's never been in better mental shape. Jake Christ has kind of undergone a career resurgence, a life resurgence these past few years, and Curtis needs to be prepared for the best version of Jake Christ that we've ever seen, wouldn't you say?
I would definitely agree with that. There comes a time in your career where he's been at this for such a long time where you got to prove that Father Time's not working against you at some point, right? And I feel like that's where Jake Christ is currently. He's kind of reinvented himself. He's, like you said, he's in the greatest physical shape that you've ever seen him in. and it pays off. Luke Curtis is going to come in and he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, making his debut with TSW, and so it's going to be a tough outing. This should be a fantastic match. This is probably one of my must-see matches on the entire card, is between Chris and Curtis.
I mean, that's a pick 'em up and down the card, if you ask me, but certainly that's high praise to stand out amongst the kind of talent that we have here. If you're just joining us here on social media, Tri-State Wrestling Live, we're talking all about Double Down. It goes down a week from this Saturday. It's 11 days away. Coming to you from the Fitness Center in Hamilton, Ohio. We've got 6 huge matches we're talking about through the half hour or so. We want to remind you, you can get your tickets at TriStateWrestlingOnline.com. The meet and greet package is available as well, 7 p.m. The action will go down as we are building a resurgence and a revolution in the Cincinnati and greater area, Hamilton to be exact. And so much to talk about, including our next matchup, which will feature a young athlete by the name of 12 Gauge. And he's going to look to make the grade against the academic standard of GPA. But a 12 Gauge we saw recently, and somebody who has a lot of heart, even when he lacks a little bit of that size, wouldn't you say?
Yes, he definitely has a lot of heart. He's got a great background as well, and maybe that's part of where he developed the the never say die attitude. He trained at the Black and Brave Academy. For those who are not aware, that's Seth Rollins' school, better known as Tyler Black. And that's just that's a fantastic start. I made his TSW debut in March. He did come up short in the singles contest. He did go against the Golden State God, Carson Drake. That's a tough outing. That's a tough ask in your debut. So, he's looking for revenge, as you said, against the academic standard.
I know the excitement is in the air amongst our fans as well. I saw Kathy chiming in. She says she can't wait to be at this event. We thank you for your contributions and your support at Tri-State Wrestling. If you guys have questions throughout the stream as well, we'll try to answer as best we can. Or if you guys want to let us know what you're looking forward to, Benjamin Turner's looking forward to GPA. I don't know about that. Maybe GPA slipped him a few bucks to type that one out. I don't really know. But GPA, the academic standard, feels that he's better than everybody, feels that he's got the book smarts, he's got the street smarts, and he's got that mental acumen that will advance his career. And thus far it has. He's undefeated in Tri-State Wrestling. But will the mind overpower the heart? What is truly the strongest organ? We're going to find that out when these two different contrasts come together. Danny, what do you look for as your prediction of who comes out on top?
I'm looking for 12 Gauge to come in and have the heart prevail over the mind. And this is not a knock on GPA. I'm a huge GPA guy, but I'm really going with the heart over the mind in this one. How about you, Joe?
Well, I mean, adversity introduces a man to himself. It's one of my favorite phrases over the course of my following in professional wrestling. And 12 Gauge, certainly his name lends itself to a certain visual and a certain explosiveness that comes with his style. And you can look in the eyes in just this photo and tell the determination and the focus. I think 12 Gauge comes in the underdog, but if GPA comes in with a little too inflated sense of self, we could see a big upset. Also in action on this night, we're going to see the best mullet in the business today. Sam Beal is back, the Perminator, the man that has caught so many fans by storm here in Tri-State Wrestling. And Sam Beal is somebody that has been in the conversation, in the title picture. He's been at the top of the card or near it since day one, since he walked in the door here at Tri-State Wrestling. What do you think it is about Sam Beal that has been so captivating, both in ring and out for our fans?
He has the it factor for me. He really does. He has the look. He's got the in-ring prowess. He's got the total package. And as you said, he's got the best mullet in the industry. And that's saying something. I mean, if we're in the 90s, maybe it's a little bit different. But I mean, when you're bringing it back, and you're in 2023, and you can bring the mullet back, and you can rock it to perfection like the Perminator is. I mean, come on, guys, come on. That's why we love him.
Benjamin said it in the chat. It's the power of the perm that has driven him to success. Of course, keep in mind the first round of the Tri-State Wrestling inaugural championship tournament, he faced VSK, who would go on to become the champion. He would love to reemerge in the TSW title picture. But in his way, coming up a week from Saturday, a gifted collegiate football athlete, Blake Wright, makes his Tri-State debut. And again, a very, very long list as far as a resume, both in wrestling and out. Isn't that so?
Yeah, I mean, he's. But what can you say about Blake Wright outside of he's an unknown commodity, obviously, for the TSW family. But I mean, if you've seen him, he's been in IWA Mid-South. He's been in OVW, and he's wrestled, as you said, the resume of names that he has wrestled against and trained with. I mean, it's a who's who of names on that list, and it's we'll see if it pays off. I'll tell you though, if Sam Beal hits the perm roller, it's a 1, 2, 3, and that's not a great debut for Blake Wright if we're looking at it objectively, Joe.
Well, as objectively as we can look at it with Sam Beal, because it's so much fun to talk about just the energy that Sam Beal brings everywhere he goes, from the music to the ring jacket to maybe a couple adult beverages to celebrate afterwards. Sam Beal is authentically, unapologetically him, and that's why we love him so much. But Blake Wright comes in with a background at Anderson University in Indiana, and he's competed against many well-established names. You talk about Zachary Wentz, who we talked about, M-Dog Matt Cross, Shannon Moore, TJP Heath, Calvin Tankman, and many more. He's got the time-tested and the big match-tested skill. We'll see if Blake Wright can overcome Sam Beal, or if the Perminator can keep rolling through the competition. And again, it all goes down a week from Saturday night, May the 13th, at the Fitness Center in Hamilton, Ohio. It's TSW Double Down. And if you've never been to the Fitness Center, beautiful venue, by the way. This is not just some hole in the ground in the middle of nowhere like I've been many times in my career. And that's not a knock on that, because those have their charm as well. But the Fitness Center is a beautiful, luxurious building. There's not a bad seat in the house. You're going to walk into that arena and you're going to feel like you're at an event, a happening. And that's what it should be. And we want you guys to go to tristatewrestlingonline.com and make sure you're a part of this event. Get your meet and greet packages for Eric Redbeard and all the stars of TSW. You can meet and greet them as well. If you've never been to an independent wrestling show before, it's so interactive. You can talk to the athletes before the event, intermission. You can yell at them in the ring. And someone who a lot of people like to yell at, and he has it coming most times, talking about hashtag it's me, Golden State God. Of course, Carson Drake is here to listen to people talk about Carson Drake, his favorite topic, his favorite subject. But man, he's a newsmaker, isn't he, Danny? He's always on the lips of fans and pundits, whether it's good or bad. He's making headlines.
100%. I mean, and it's he's at the Square Circle Expo. You see him walking by. He had a picture of himself. I mean, there's this. Carson Drake is the guy like you love to hate, right? Isn't it? I think that's the best way that you could describe him. Like, I don't know. I'm just, he's the Golden State God for a reason, right? He really is, Joe. That's the way I look at it. He's got so much to hate that you just have to love him.
He's in our chat talking about how handsome he is. I think he's got a full-length mirror in front of him right next to his computer or his phone or however he's watching us right now.
He's not even watching us. He's got the selfie camera open.
Everybody, the jaw, the eyes, the ego, everybody is just fawning over Carson Drake right now in our chat. And I'm sure no one is happier about that than Carson Drake, his own biggest fan. But what about the opposition? Fanny Pack Kid Cal Hero And this is his TSW debut, but Cal has been around the business for pretty much his entire life. Out of the Milwaukee area, I've known of his father, David Hero, who has been a longtime promoter of events and signings up in the Milwaukee area. David's got photos of him with The Rock and with Kevin Nash and all of these major stars that he's done signings with and appearances with. And Cal was kind of the little tag along. He was the little kid
Yeah.
who was making friends with all of these larger than life legends forever. And now Cal finds himself in the same sport that he grew up watching and idolizing. He's down in OVW with Al Snow in Louisville, doing a great job down there. And I saw Cal at Ric Flair's last match last year, and I remember Road Dogg Bryant James having so many great words about Cal. Cal has a lot of pressure on him because a lot of very, very prominent people are watching him from day one. But it looks like he's done a hell of a job of succeeding so far, hasn't he?
He absolutely has been, and he huge fan favorite basically everywhere he goes. Yeah, and rightfully so. He's been at it for a long time, and a lot of us, like I knew who he was because of his dad. I was a Super Friend at one point. I was part of the David Hero Super Friends collection. So it was, it's cool to see how he's gotten his footing in this industry. Unfortunately, he's going to have a very, very tough matchup against Carson Drake, but it's going to be for a kid who's been at it, like you said, in high school. He's been doing it, and he's been doing it very well all over the place. And he's gotten, AAA, Impact, AEW. He's been all over the place. And so the experience is second to none for Cal Hero already at this young stage in his career.
Yeah, already held the OVW Southern Tag Team title. And my favorite thing about Cal Hero, if I'm going to name one thing right now I love the most about Cal Hero, he is not Carson Drake. And that's going to be what I think the fans are going to just gravitate to as well. The fact that anybody but Carson Drake, but Cal Hero is going to more than fit the mold of a formidable challenge for the cocky and brash Golden State God, who's going to look to continue his winning streak. We'll see if that pays off. A week from Saturday, May 13th, Fitness Center, Hamilton, Ohio. The doors open at 6, bell at 7, Tri-State Wrestling Online to get your tickets and more information. But there is a big main event on tap on this night, and VSK has been the center of controversy. VSK finds himself without his normal running buddy, Eric James, banned from the building. And we saw VSK and Eric James lay a 2-on-1 beatdown to Stephen Wolf when Stephen Wolf appeared out of nowhere. The Wolf of Wrestling looked to challenge VSK for that Tri-State Heavyweight Championship back in the month of March. Eric James helped play spoiler there, helped protect VSK. Nothing doing here tonight. VSK has to face on the other side of this ring the two biggest threats to his championship yet in Stephen Wolf and Myron Reed.
Yeah. And no slouches either. Myron Reed has been around the block. I've seen him in MLW. As you know, Myron Reed has been around for forever. Stephen Wolf is absolutely no slouch. So these are such a formidable team for these two guys who have bad blood with VSK. Let's face it here, Joe. Everybody's got bad blood with VSK, it seems. He's not doing any favors with anybody in the locker room or out of the locker room at making any friends. And, outside of an alliance with Eric James.
Yeah, and I don't know if many of you fans have seen. Oh, that's just a beautiful visual there. Not necessarily who it is, but the message behind it. Eric James banned from ringside. If you're only familiar with VSK from television, he's more than just a butler. He's more than just a lackey. He can go in a very, very big way. And I don't know if we have any of the footage ready from Everybody's Got a Price in March to show any of the beatdown, the assault from VSK and Eric James to Stephen Wolf and Myron Reed saving the day. We'll try to get that up for you if we have it, but if not, you can find so much of our footage as well if you search for Tri-State Wrestling on YouTube to get you caught up on anything you've missed. You talk about Myron Reed. Honestly, I think Myron Reed is one of the most underrated athletes. I think he deserves to get the same amount of buzz that a lot of the quote-unquote indie darlings do. And honestly, Myron Reed's better than a lot of people that get a lot of buzz. And it may be only a matter of time before he is the TSW champion. You talked about what he's done in MLW, held the middleweight title more times than anybody in history. But before we get deeper into this matchup, we want to show you the package from Everybody's Got a Price to see how Stephen Wolf returned to the fold and how everything unfolded with VSK, Eric James, and Myron Reed.
This is my only appearance for today. You guys get to see me with the belt, but I will not be wrestling tonight. You guys do not deserve it. Excuse me, VSK.
No, I know who that is.
Wait a second, what's he doing now?
And respectfully, I know you're the champion, yes, but Hamilton deserves better. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. Since technically speaking, there is no #1 contender right now. Hamilton, how would you guys feel about seeing VSK versus Stephen Wolf for the TSW Heavyweight Championship? All right, fine, you're on! You and me tonight for the title!
That's official!
What?
There you have it. That was Stephen Wolf's return, getting right in the face of VSK, showing that he's got no fear. But, Danny, VSK had Eric James by his side to bail him out later in that particular broadcast. But my question is, listen, VSK has no friends. We talked about that. VSK has nobody that he hangs out with other than Eric James. I want to say, who will VSK pick? But honestly, who will accept if he does pick them? Are the walls closing in on VSK, or does the champion have a plan?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to figure out where he's gonna go. He could ask anybody in the locker room. But can you trust him? Can you trust VSK? Right? Like the title's not on the line, so I mean, he doesn't necessarily really care if he has to lose the match if he's got to turn on you. He just wants to make sure that Myron Reed and Stephen Wolf get a beat down, right? So it's going to be tough to see who realistically can partner with VSK during the event. I'm not entirely sure who we're going to see in his corner. Who do you think we're going to see?
Well, I can tell you who it's not going to be. It's not going to be Sam Beal. Hates VSK's guts. I don't think it's going to be Trey Lamar, although we saw Trey Lamar get involved in the Square Circle Expo matchup. Myron Reed, VSK. That matchup in front of a big crowd in Indiana. We're going to show you what happened when Myron Reed tried to challenge VSK, and things completely fell apart again. And VSK escaped with his championship. Let's take it to Squared Circle Expo.
I can't let you do that.
And still, Tri-State Wrestling's heavyweight champion, VSK.
Man, that sickening thud of that heavy belt on the skull of Myron Reed just sends shivers up your body. And it looked like Trey Lamar was having altruistic intentions, but we know that Trey Lamar and Myron Reed don't get along either. That stems back from way back in the inaugural title tournament when they went to a draw and sudden death. that Trey Lamar ended up finding his way on top. But was Trey Lamar trying to do what was right, or did Trey Lamar have his own interests in mind? How do you see that situation?
It's interesting because he was kind of holding his ground, holding that belt back from VS and not allowing VSK to utilize it. And you get a little butterfingers there at the end. Like what exactly happened? Because he kind of like let her loose, and then we all heard the thud. There's no denying that. And then you saw the little push for Myron Reed at the end of that video clip as Trey Lamar is tending to him, trying to, maybe he's trying to smooth things over. It's a very interesting circumstance. And, we haven't really heard much from Trey Lamar. So it's a toss up in my mind.
Well, I think there's a lot of unfinished business there with Trey Lamar. I think Trey Lamar, much like Myron Reed, criminally underrated. Trey started up in the Cleveland area, trained by one of my good, close personal friends, Johnny Gargano. So I know what Trey Lamar is capable of. I know what he has in his mind, in his heart, his athletic prowess. Trey Lamar's untapped potential all day. And him and Myron Reed, one-on-one against one another, incredible. Trey Lamar and Myron Reed potentially on the same page would be great. But I don't know that necessarily that's what we can bank on right now. But another individual that we know it's not going to be that is going to be joining VSK is Carlito, because Carlito has called out and he's called out VSK a time or two as well. He wants that championship as well. Eric James is banned from the building. VSK may have to find somebody in an alleyway somewhere to team with him. I'm not sure. But he's got to find a way. His title's not on the line here. But if you pin the champion, in my eyes, you got a guaranteed title shot, right?
You got to have a guaranteed title shot if you're pinning the champion. Yeah, you have to. I mean, that's the next best thing that you could ask for as a contender, as a competitor in this industry is pinning the champion in a non-title match.
Well, we're going to see if the innovation and the flash of Myron Reed or the world-traveled nature of the young veteran Stephen Wolf is enough to overcome VSK, or does VSK have a plan and a tag team partner waiting in tow? If you are a wrestling fan and your name is not Eric James, we want to see you live and in person at TSW Double Down. And we want to see you there a week from Saturday as it takes place May the 13th at the Fitness Center in Hamilton, Ohio. Tri-State Wrestling Online to get your tickets and information, meet and greet packages. 7 p.m. it's going to kick off. And, of course, find more information on Tri-State Wrestling on all of the social media channels. You're on at least one right now because you're joining us, so you've done that really well. TSW Online all over the place to get in on TSW Pro Wrestling, I should say, to get in on the hot news and views everywhere. Danny, it's been great sitting with you for the past half hour and change, talking about TSW, and I can't wait to see how all of this unfolds and be a part of it live and in person and feel the energy in Hamilton, Ohio, as TSW continues growing.
It's gonna be a hell of a show. TSW is. They're making waves. They are making waves all the way down here in Florida. Fans of the indie scene are talking about it down here. You go to an NXT show, fans are talking about it. I mean, they're making waves, and it's beautiful to see. As a fan of professional wrestling, we're all fans of wrestling at the end of the day. This is what you want. You want big things to happen. You want good things to happen. You want these companies to thrive because it just makes it better for all of us at the end of the day.
So many combustible elements going to converge in Hamilton, Ohio. 11 nights from tonight, and we want you to converge there as well. On behalf of Tri-State Wrestling, on behalf of Danny, my name is Joe Dombrowski. Thank you so much for being a part of this special Double Down preview here on Social Media Live. We will see you and 11 nights at the Fitness Center for Double Down.